Hi, everyone. This is our Runecast for the week of October 5th, and we are still in Gebo, which we remain in through the 13th of October. I think our past week with Gebo has been, I think, in terms of the intensity of the runes that we've had thus far in this first ed, it's been relatively tame. Not that events on the planet have been relatively tame or that our lives have been particularly calm, but of course, those aren't necessarily attributes of partnership, are they? They are attributes of connection. And we talked last time about how Gebo is the rune at which point we realize our agency can mingle with that of others and we get maybe better or bigger results. Whenever we double our efforts, triple our efforts, etc., our agency becomes even more profound, perhaps more widely distributed. So that's one aspect of Gebo that I think is really important. The one that seems to be speaking to me this week is when we talk about the gift aspect of Gebo, we're talking about something that is within your talent, within your ability, that is given to support someone else or some other body. And again, when I sit with that from my deepest animistic place possible, I feel like we're talking about our calling. And I say this over and over. I say it in social media. I say it in teaching. Our calling is not for us. I don't know where we get that idea, really, that our calling is this thing that we discern and we have to like hone everything in on that. And it's what we do. It's what gives us purpose and it's what gives us meaning. And I'm not saying that as if that is bad. It's not bad. But if it stops there, it is centering you. And the whole point of being here is interdependence, it's balance, it's belonging. And so if what we come here for only stops at what gives us meaning, that's just kind of like an ego experience. It's not really something that we're doing because it's needed in the world and we can give it, especially when it is something that we can't help but do, when it's something that we can't help but be good at and to give it. And I feel like that is sort of a slight angle of Gebo that we don't talk about as much. We talk about the gratitude, we talk about the partnership, but we don't really talk about the gift itself. And I feel like this week we're being asked to understand what that is and where necessary to pull ego out of it, to sit with what we really sincerely are good at, what we do, what we contribute, and how when we are able to put that in a community space and amplify it with the agency of others, how does it change? How do we change? What challenges come up for us, if any? And how do we give that? How do we give the gift that we're here to give? Let's see what our helping rune is this week. Interesting. Okay. We have Yera this week. We have Yera as the best way to work with Gebo. Yera means year. It means harvest, which is the naturally occurring thing that we do at the year point. We take stock of the year. We look back over it. We do inventory, figure out what we need, what we don't need, figure out what we need to do more of, what we need to do differently, what we never need to do again, and how we carry all of that data forward into the way that we bring our agency to the planet coming into the next year. So what might Yera be asking you of how you're holding your calling at this time? I think this is a good place to pause and regroup with calling. And I think it's particularly interesting to do it now when I feel like we're really stretched thin in terms of all of our spiritual um, awareness, our rituals, our ceremonies, the things that we do to express gratitude, the things that we're doing to state what we need. I feel like all of that is just even more relegated to the bottom of the list than it usually has been in life post COVID. It's been interesting to watch that transition, like this era pre-COVID where people were just super centering their spiritual lives and doing their rituals and big, long, involved rituals, and down to this trickle of like, I used to say bite size, but I'm at like M&M size now, and I think now I'm just at M. It is what it is, but do it, still do it. And I feel like that's kind of the message of Yera with Gebo right now. It's like whatever you're doing, do the inventory, refine it down to what you absolutely have to and what is doable, but do it because your partnership can't function without some kind of foundation. It can't function and do what it needs to do. It can't amplify your agency if your agency isn't even really being, I guess, explored or given creative license. So, what needs to happen to be able to breathe more life into your agency? What needs to happen to widen your experience of your agency, thus slash calling, so that you can be in your communities the way that they need you to be? And again, I don't feel like this is asking for a huge stretch. It's not asking for something that you got to go take a class in and figure out how to do. Maybe it is asking that. I don't know. But the whole point of calling is that it's integral to who you are. It's built in. You can't help but do it. And so how do you amplify that? How do you get help carrying it, even passive help carrying it forward and releasing it into the world? All right, I'm going to use the blank rune to find our season. And our season is what really sets the tone. It's like, are we throwing on the brakes? Are we rearing forward? Are we just kind of walking at a pace? Are we moseying? We're in winter, so we're kind of moseying. This is asking us to mosey. This is asking us to slow down, take our time. There's no rushing with doing the work that's been put on us this week to kind of clarify maybe not just what we're doing here, but how our ego is in relationship with what we're doing here and who we're serving by doing it. So take some time to sit with that. And I don't want to say that this is indoors, especially this time of year where we're kind of enjoying the fold up of summer and it's actually doable to be outside where I live right now. But this is like introvert energy. This is quite possibly cracking a book or two, some hot chocolate, that kind of slow roll to what you need to know, what you need to gain about the relationship between these two runes in your life right now. The direction that we're working with this week is north. I just always feel particularly happy when it's north. I don't entirely know why, but that is the starting place when I open space. So there's that. North is our experience of everything that's ahead of us. And I mean, that combined with the mosey energy, it might create a little tension this week because north is typically like forward on, keep going, the descendants, everything that's ahead of us. But I guess we can take that a little bit slower and be a little bit more methodic about what it means and who is ahead of us. And we don't know. Like, and that is a whole other thing to make peace with. When you really situate into your role as elder, you don't get to know what's ahead of you. You just do the thing. You give your gift, and you don't get to control what happens with it or where it goes or how it goes forward, which is why all of this exploration in these runes is so important. Because without doing it, our gift might be wompy jawed. It might land a little bit strange, or who needs it might have to do their own sussing out to really clarify what it is, as opposed to if we do that work and we layer those intentions now. No, we can't control them. We can't direct where it's going to go, how it's going to land, but we can at least have our whole heart in it as we're going forward in Gebo right now. The element that shows up is plastic, which is always kind of cute to me because, little people dog. But I also just love when there's lots of faces in the Runecast. Plastic is one of those ones that people like call me out on a regular basis. Almost every time it comes up in the Runecast, somebody says something about it, which is fine. But I think it bears exploring what are elements to you. Like, and not just like which ones do I choose to acknowledge as elements and which ones do I want to work with, but which ones want to work with you. And plastic is one of the ones that came to me. I did not seek it out. I didn't even really think of it. And it was purely the result of my health experience in that I am alive because of plastic. I stay alive every day because of plastic. And so I was like, okay, I got to figure out sacred relationship here. And it's a love-hate thing, right? Because plastic is literally an element born of necessity. It's born out of feeding masses, producing for masses. And it also has this flip side of, if depending on the kind of plastic it is, it will never go away. It will literally seep into our bodies, into the water, into the ground, and create all kinds of problems, right? And this is a lesson that humanity has had to walk through. By the same token, where does plastic come from? It comes from elements that ooze together to become this whole other substance. That's its agency, to become other. I always encourage people to sit with how they feel about plastic, and where it makes you uncomfortable, maybe sit with why that is, and honor it, and where maybe there needs to be a little bit of relationship work, honor that as well, and do that work, because it's here. We can't deny that it isn't part of our world, and in the cases where it's extremely useful, in the cases where it's extremely harmful. I feel like the overall tone of this runecast is when we really sit with what is gratitude in our lives, what we give, how we receive, and who these exchanges happen with, the bonds that are built out of these exchanges. We're talking about how we build deep relationship. And yes, this week the emphasis seems to be a little bit more on the gift itself. And the gift is kind of the glue that forms the bond. It is the thing that makes us interact. And maybe that's the place where we need to sit this week. Maybe we need to sit in the place that makes us interact and figure out how we're in relationship with that, so that we know exactly how we want to engage and go forward. The Galder that we're working with involves Gebo, Gebo, Ge, Gebo, Gif, Gifu, and also Yera, Yera, Yero, Yera, Yero. The way that this Galder comes together for me is like this. Gifuriera, 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 gifuriera. This Galder itself felt like it eased some of the tension that might come up here. Like maybe there's not having to sit around and suss things out, with the cup of hot chocolate, but just enjoying the hot chocolate, having sussed out what happens here by just letting that Galder do the work. I always enjoy when we can have passive healing, passive tending, and we should enjoy it when it happens. Let it do its thing. Don't get in the way. Don't try to drive it, and don't ignore it and just say, oh, well, it's doing its thing. I'll go do another thing. Sit in the space, hold the space, let the Galder do what it does, and see how your feelings around calling and how that is given. It's not yours, it's given, and how it moves out into the world on its own. See if some of that lightens up a little bit. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other.